I'll be doing a sort of a mix of closing remarks and also reintroducing to you the UP Korea Research Center. One of the center's mission is actually to serve as the hub or that will facilitate the network of Korean studies scholars in the country. And when we conceptualized the Philippine Koreanist Congress, it was basically along this goal. So last year, under the leadership of our former director, Dr. Ed Gonzalez, we held the first Philippine Koreanist Congress at the Microtel in UP Techno Hub. The theme of the first Koreanist Congress was building ties, fostering collaboration. It was a fitting start to gather Korean studies scholars, experts, students, and even allies. I call them Korean studies allies. And some of you, or many of you maybe, were with us last year, right? Meron ba ditong nasa yung alumni ng first Philippine Koreanist Congress? Okay. And to be honest, looking back, I almost regretted suggesting putting first. Kasi the plan was actually to call it just Philippine Koreanist Congress. But I told Ms. Be, Kyung-Min Be, that I think we should put first before Philippine Koreanist Congress, thinking that it will be sustained and we'll have a second and third one. But as you know, as you probably have heard, that the center had difficulties last year because our funding from the Academy of Korean Studies ended in the middle of the year. So I somehow regretted a bit because I thought we'll not be able to hold a second Philippine Koreanist Congress. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Academy of Korean Studies for still providing funding for some of our specific projects, and one of them is the second Philippine Koreanist Congress. And if you were in the first edition of the Philippine Koreanist Congress, you will perhaps notice that we have made this edition much bigger, both in terms of participants and the presentations. This year we had academic papers presented by our faculty, experts, and scholars. Last year we only had sharing of experiences by some of our Korean scholars and alumni from Korean universities. So allow me to provide you a brief context, and can you move to the next slide? This year, as you would see, the UP Korea Research Center is really busy this year. And of course, this is largely due to the fact that we are celebrating the 70th year of Korea-Philippines relation. So this is the official commemorative logo of the 70th year celebration of the Korea-Philippines ties. And have you noticed those flowers in the logo? Right, so the one on the right side is Munuma. That's like the national flower of Korea. And the one on the left side is Sampaguita. That's what we think is our national flower in the Philippines. I'm not sure if there's a legislation about it, but we only consider Sampaguita as our national flower. So I really like the logo. And can we just skip this slide? I believe that you probably know that we started officially in 2016. The University of the Philippines system approved the establishment of the UP Korea Research Center. And this is currently our team. So I'm acting as OIC director for 1 year now. And our senior office manager is Kyung-Min Be, and we have one senior office associate, who is Pamela Hakar. And I'd like to add Janet Garcia. She's now our research assistant, and we're also benefiting from the help of Elsie Marior, graphic designer from the Department of Linguistics. And also, whenever we get, so the UP Korea Research Center relies upon UP for internal operation. So for the honorarium of the staff, and for office space, but in terms of activities like this, we rely upon external funding. So if we don't have external funding, we'll not be able to hold events like this. And for this year, thankfully, we're able to secure research funding from the Korea Foundation. And currently, we have 3 major or core research projects, and allow me to recognize the key people that are our core researchers this year. Can we move to the next slide, please? And they are Dr. Jen Urbana. Jen, are you still here?
Sir, no. Sir.
Okay, so Dr. Jen Urbana is in charge of South Korea's strategic public diplomacy and ASEAN-led mechanisms. And then Dr. Jean Franco, right there, she's the one in charge of the media representations of Filipinos in Korea and Koreans in the Philippines and their policy implications. And of course, Dr. Erica Bistrano there is in charge of a review of economic agendas and relevant bilateral relations between South Korea and the Philippines. So our core researchers will be producing 3 policy papers within the year, and we have already initially released the first 2 policy papers of our core researchers. So if you are interested to read their outputs, you could access them via our official Facebook page. And of course, we're currently holding the 2nd Philippine Koreanist Congress, so allow me to thank our keynote speaker that was very insightful and fitting keynote speech today. Thank you very much for not minding the distance and deciding to join us today. And of course, we'd like to thank as well our paper presenters today. Professor Raymond Abejo, who talked about discovering Korea from the Philippine modern history, and Mr. Anton Miranda from the Foreign Service Institute for talking about building cross-cultural competence for community building, Ms. Normy Son, who talked about intercultural marriage and learned a lot about what would be the factors or variables to have a long-lasting intercultural marriage. And also Professor Oliver Quintana, who talked about examining Korean community social involvement in the Philippines. Dr. Danny Rose Salazar, who talked about bilateral investment and trade between Korea and the Philippines. I was quite surprised because she was kind of serious today, because Danny, as we know her, she's very bubbly. So earlier today, she told me that, sir, I'm going to be serious on stage this afternoon, don't worry. And finally, Dr. Bubbles Beverly Azor, who talked about strategic policy planning for Korean Diaspora community in the Philippines. Thank you very much for all your inputs today, and soon we're hoping that we can publish their papers in Hanpil, the official peer-reviewed publication of the UP Korea Research Center. So I'd just like to give you a brief overview of what we're currently doing. So I mentioned earlier we are publishing policy papers, and they are accessible via our official Facebook page. So if you have not liked it yet, please do right now. And finally, this year we are turning Hanpil into a peer-reviewed publication. It used to be an occasional paper series. Now we're calling it Hanpil Studies on Korea and the Philippines. So we're currently forming the International Advisory Board. So, and we set a deadline for the first peer-reviewed issue last July, and we overwhelmingly received an overwhelming number of submissions. So hopefully we're going to have a good, interesting first peer-reviewed issue later this year. And the other activities that we do, in line with the 70th year celebration, of course, we're in the middle. You would see that we just collaborated with the Asia Pathways Foundation for Progress Foundation Incorporated. Last July, we held a joint public forum entitled "Significance of Korea's New Southern Policy for the Philippines and ASEAN," and we had Dr. Chae-hyun Lee from the ASEAN Institute for Policy Studies as our main speaker. And then this coming, couldn't see it. In this coming November, we're going to hold the 6th Philippine Korean Studies Symposium. This is one of our biggest, this is probably the biggest gathering of Korean studies scholars, experts, practitioners, and students in the country. So please join us this coming November for the 6th Philippine Korean Studies Symposium, which we are co-organizing with the UP Department of Linguistics. And if you're a graduate student who is doing Korean studies, we're also inviting you to the Next Gen Koreanist Workshop, which we are collaborating with the UP Department of Political Science. And we just concluded the UP KRC Korea Essay Contest. So we're hoping to publish the winning pieces also in Handbill, part of the non-reviewed component of the journal. And then we held Korean Studies Info session. And actually last week we just came back from our first ever out-of-town mobile lecture. We went to University of the Philippines, Cebu, and we conducted a Korean Studies mobile lecture there, and it was really warmly received. We had around 100 attendees on a Saturday, so we're really thankful that we were able to hold our first ever inter-CU collaboration. Because after all, UPKRC is a UP system office, so we're hoping that we could serve not only UP Diliman but also all the other campuses of the UP system. And we have collaboration with UP Film Institute, so we held the UP Korean Film Festival last March. We do film literacy workshop with them, and we already held 2 DMC International Documentary Film Festival with the UP Film Institute. And also, we do intercultural engagements aside from the Film Fest. We collaborate with tourism organizations, and as Professor Laranjo mentioned earlier, we're going to hold another first for the center, which is the first Filipino Speaks Contest for Koreans. So on September 7, if you're free, kindly join us. You will see for the first time Koreans delivering speeches in Filipino. And the grand prize for that is round trip to Korea. Okay? Alright, so we would like to thank our partners. Of course, we always collaborate with the Korean Cultural Center. We benefit a lot from the help of the UP Department of Linguistics. The Academy of Korean Studies supported our initial incubation period for around 3 years. Korea Foundation is our major funding agency for this year. And thank you. And the Korean Women's Association of the Philippines as well. The Asia Pacific Pathways to Progress Foundation incorporated. Wala na si Dr. Rabena, but nandito si Sir Erwin Graff. Thank you, sir. And also, the Sentro ng Wikang Filipino, the UP Departamento ng Filipino at Panitikan ng Pilipinas. And we're also thankful to COSASA, the Korean Studies Association of Southeast Asia. We held the international conference of COSASA. The University of the Philippines hosted it. We collaborated with COSASA in organizing the conference, also here in the same venue. And so these are some of the snapshots from our events. We also helped UP System to actually formulate MOUs and MOAs with Korean universities. Our EVP mentioned earlier that now we have more than 30 agreements with Korean universities and academic institutions. And also, we have probably the first radio program to air in the Philippines which topic or theme is really about Korean culture and society. So every Wednesday, as our EZUB team mentioned earlier, we go live with K-Time, K-Alaman, K-Bulaman, K-Saya, K-Time. And it's 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and we have guests. And we talked about all the interesting aspects of Korean culture, society, especially those that matter to Filipinos. Okay? And we also had meetings with COICA for possible collaborations. And as our friend Shefi mentioned earlier from the UP Korea Research Center, last year we organized a study tour for graduate students. Sana masundan, di ba? More study tours for graduate students, for undergraduate students, and even for faculty members who are interested to get more exposure on Korean culture and society. And so we still, as you probably might have heard, we are temporarily housed now. We have not settled yet in our new office, which is the Asian Institute of Tourism. Medyo malaylay ng konti. But we are, me, myself, and the team, we're always in contact. Pam is reporting to me in my office. So please wait until we announce our official physical address, but you can always email us for any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding the activities of the center. So again, allow me to thank you all for choosing to be with us on a Saturday when you are supposed to be spending it resting or doing recreational activities. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank as well again our keynote speaker for traveling to Manila. I know that you've been here several times already, but we're thankful that you've been with us the whole day today. And also to Dr. Maruha Asis, our Director of Philippine Immigration Center. Thank you very much for gracing our event today. And my leadership of the center has always been inspired by our founding director, Dr. Ed Gonzalez, who also chose to be with us today. Thank you, sir. And of course, kahit tatlo lang kami sa team, even if the team of UP Cares is only composed by the director and 2 staff members, we bank upon the assistance, help of our faculty members from the University of the Philippines who have been with us for like 4 years now. Many of you are here today, hindi ko na kayo isa-isahin, but thank you very much. Of course, the overly underrated heroes of our undertakings at the center are its staff. So, help me appreciate them with a warm round of applause. Ms. Tongmin Be, Senior Office Manager, our Office Associate, Ms. Pamela Matar, Marie, and Jeanette Garcia, our RA, and special thanks, of course, goes to Dr. Wendell Capili, who anchored the morning session, and Assistant Professor Margaret De Chavez for the lively moderating of the afternoon session. So with that, I'd like to officially close the program. Our wish is to see each other again on the 3rd Philippine Koreanist Congress next year. Hopefully bigger, livelier, and more academic papers, and more deep and engaging conversations. Thank you very much. Kamsahamnida.